Let me make sure everything is working. I'll sound up. Yup. All right. Okay. And get the music on them. And music by JX, by the way. A lot of shouting out I'm going to be doing in this video. So be prepared. A song skip. What to say? Everything? Yeah, thank you. Working. My YouTube is working now. This beat is shaboinkin'. This beat is shaboinkin'. Hey. Beat is shaboinkin'. Boinkin', boinkin', boinkin'. Beep, beep. I got this playlist. So the playlist that's going on right now, you feel me? This is what I was talking about the other day, where I was like, look, I'm like, I've created possibly the perfect soundtrack for Sonic Superstars. You feel me? The entire soundtrack. And I have a playlist that is public that everybody can see, that they can go to. All the tracks are here for everyone to go look at. You know what I mean? And for someone to come along and be like, yo, songs are dope. We can just mod all these into Sonic Superstars. You know what I mean? Be all right with that. And like I said, are all of them, I know everybody wants, one cohesive soundtrack where it's just like, it only sounds like one thing. It only sounds like one, type of instruments. And I'm like, no. I'm like, I get you, but like, it's not going to happen. I would prefer to have live, like, not live instruments, but like, natural sounding instruments, and then chiptune, the Genesis sound. You feel me? JP in the chat. Was good, JP. For everybody watching right now and all my VOD watchers, you feel me? Welcome to Monthly Gamer. If you like what you see here, like, comment, subscribe, share with everybody, hit the bell. Make sure you come back. I stream here every single weekday. 5 o'clock Central Time, 6 o'clock Eastern Time. You feel me? So if you want to, most of the time I'm doing Sonic stuff. You know what I mean? But every time I deviate every once in a while. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But most of the time it's platformers. I'm playing platformers. Or discussing Sonic. You know what I mean? Also, if you want to support Monthly Gamer, all my payment options are down in the description below. You feel me? I got PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, Patreon. Patreon's a subscription service. If you want to throw $1 in there, that'll help me out. Also have a $5 tier where if you throw $5 in there, I'll play whatever game you want me to play on stream. Just send me the requests and let me know. As long as I have access to it and as long as it's YouTuber friendly, I will do that. Cool? Cool. King Galactic's in the chat with a good day. Hit me with a good day. King Galactic, I'm playing. I have this playlist. You feel me? You know what I mean? It's funny how I got a music guy and I got a modder in the chat where I'm talking about this. I have a playlist that I have accrued, that I have assembled, and I'm like, I feel like this playlist will fix the Sonic Superstars soundtrack. You feel me? I feel like it'll do it. Did I get rid of every single song in Sonic Superstars? No. Because I think these are actually genuinely really good songs in the game that don't need to go anywhere. Did I get rid of all of June's soundtracks? No, but I did get rid of a lot of them. Let's see. King Galactic's best part of every Sonic game. I can think of a few examples. Okay. Well, since we got people coming in, let's go ahead and let's get to it. Let's get to the whole thing. Playlist. Let me go to my not that. That's what I'm doing right now. View playlist. Go to my watch later. You know what I'm saying? Now, this is the thing I want to touch on right here. Boom. This blah, 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 boom. This video right here. Now, this is a video from a guy named Jeremy Klinger. Now, the reason why I'm doing this video is because he put out a video 3 days ago, and I found both of them very interesting. But he put this one was 10 months ago. There was one 3 days ago that he put out where he was like the worst things in every Sonic game. But the best one in every Sonic game, we're going to go through each mainline game, and then we'll do that. You feel me? And then if you guys agree, if you disagree, you guys can, we can all talk it out, hash it out and all this stuff, as long as we're being respectful about it. You know what I mean? But I want to look at this video. We go over this, and then I'll tell you, because there's a lot of things that he says that I agree with, and then there's some of them I'm like, I think you kind of missed the mark on that one. But King Galactic's, if you can think of a couple examples, lay it on me. You feel me? Moist in the chat said, "What's up, dude?" Specifically, he said, "What up, dude?" Sorry. He didn't say what's up. He said, "What up?" And there's a difference. All right, here we go. But yeah, if you want to check out his video, if you want to check out this video and you don't want to go a long form conversation like this and you want to just check out the video, it's right here. Jeremy Klinger, best thing about every Sonic game. So we're going to go through this. We're going to discuss it.
Hedgehog games, it's super easy to criticize and talk down on them, because most games in this series aren't exactly perfect. And while some games completely deserve the hate, a lot of them really don't, and there's still something to like even in the darkest of Sonic's chapters. Today, we're taking a look at the best aspect of every mainline Sonic game.
Okay, alright, we're looking at every single one.
Hedgehog 1991, making you earn speed. The game that kickstarted...
Alright, now, Moist said, yeah, don't you dare misquote me. I'm sorry, Moist. I won't misquote you anymore.
The entire series isn't phenomenal by any stretch of the imagination, but it is.
All right, so he says the best thing about Sonic 1 is the earning the momentum. Okay? Hold on. Let me back it up. Let me make sure we see the topic. Making you earn speed. That's number one. I would never say something as disgusting as what's up. All right, fine, fair. Jeez. Making you earn speed in Sonic 1. That's what he's saying. I see where he's kind of coming from, but I don't think that's the best thing about Sonic 1. I think the best thing about Sonic 1, the very best thing about Sonic 1 is Green Hill Zone. That is and mind you, that all comes with, just learning how to play the game and all this stuff. I think it's a very, 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 very good tutorial level. It teaches you everything that you need to learn, including making you earn the speed. You know what I mean? It teaches you like, yo, this isn't like Mario. You got to back up. If you want to get around this loop, you got to back up, gain enough speed to get through the loop. You know what I mean? Same thing with rolling and all that stuff or whatever. I think that's the biggest strength of Sonic 1 is that first stage, because everything is all inherent. It's all like Sonic is basically a pinball. He's basically a pinball with legs. You know what I mean? So once you understand ball physics, and velocity, momentum, all that type of stuff, speed, all that. Once you understand, you're like, oh, this is how it works, then you start utilizing that level to be able to do those things. And I think that's what's great about it. King Galactic says Sonic 1 equals level design. It's not as smooth as other Sonic games, but what makes it good is the fact that it is that it evolved platforming to work with flow states and player momentum. I can agree with that. That's the thing too. I like too. Like a lot of people kind of like they like to discredit Sonic 1 because it's like you're not always constantly moving, and I'm like you're not always constantly moving straight, like fast in a straight line. But I'm like, but what's there is that it teaches you a lot of the fundamentals of Sonic that have kind of been lost over time. Like my favorite thing is like going to Spring Yard Zone, and which nobody ever talks about, but you get a little half pipe going, and then you just, roll up the pipe, roll up and down the pipe like that. And I think that's like one of the most fun things about Sonic. You know what I mean? King Galactic says traditional platforming is done well in Sonic 1, but it shines by molding it into something full of hills and valleys, making the ball physics work better with it. Exactly. It's one of those things where I talk to other people about it, and I'm like, yo, we kind of need. It's not even that I'm like we need slower sections. I'm like, I think platforming is very much I appreciate platforming segments, parts that are slower, that I need to slow down, take my time to understand, to go through, so that when I learn the level more and more and more, then I can be like, oh, I can just jump right here, boom, boom, and it'll like go right past the level. But those slower parts, I do appreciate. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was basically it was pretty much like, you know, evolving platforming itself. You know what I mean?
Speed. The game that kickstarted the entire series.
That's exactly how I look at Sonic 1, where I'm like, this is because all the Sonic games, every Sonic game was
Sonic's classic lineup pretty well. Why is that?
Every Sonic game was, or every game like platformer before Sonic the Hedgehog was like a Mario clone, and Sonic was like the first emergence of evolving platformers. I do believe that.
Ridiculously slow platforming levels, and is the only game in the entire main Sonic series to not feature a spin dash or boost mechanic. Instead, you have to gradually gain speed by running for a prolonged period of time. You can't just stop to wind up and zoom ahead. It forces you to actually work to build up.
So he's talking about more about the movement, whatever. And
it's a super unique way of rewarding.
I don't think that's a bad thing I don't think that's a bad number one, or I don't think it's a bad thing to say that's the best.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2, consistent speed.
Now, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, consistent speed. That's what he's saying about 2. He's that's what he says. That's what he thinks is the best thing about 2. I think I can kind of give him that. I can see that. I think the best thing about Sonic 2 I think the best thing about Sonic 2 is, what can I say about Sonic 2? I think the best thing about Sonic 2 is that it streamlines everything. You know what I mean? It's not absent of the things in Sonic 1 so much that it refines those things. But everything is streamlined. I think that's the biggest thing about it. You take Sonic 2, you know what I mean? Like you don't have sections where you have to you don't have sections where, you know what I mean, like in, again, Spring Yard Zone, where you run into a part of the level and then it's got these little platforms that you have to wait. You gotta sit there and like wait a long time, like stop everything to go through those sections. And I'm like, yo, this is just mindlessly waiting. You know what I mean? Streamline a lot of that stuff. Not everything about it is perfect, but a lot of that stuff is toned down. Galactic said, an example just popped up on screen. The half pipes in Spring Yard complements movement and rewards it with upper paths. Yep. Which, you know, as much as I was criticizing that, you can use those upper paths to, like, you know, run around those slower parts. Not in every spot, but like you can use those upper paths to be able to like get rid of, or to navigate around the slower parts, which I think is the best part about, like, the best way to structure a Sonic game is, like, you know, people say top, middle, bottom, and I'm like, that's not how Sonic games are structured. There's much more layers to them. Or there's much more deeper layers to them. But I think that being able to take the top half, like, or whatever part is like the hardest part, and being able to master that so that you don't have to go through the other ridiculous parts of the level. I think that is a good reward. You know what I mean? Sonic 2 equals speed. It enhanced the moveset greatly with the spin dash, and the levels feel snappier and more encouraging on going fast in smart ways. Exactly. As a matter of fact, I absolutely agree with that. Like the speed, like, again, like I said, refining everything, making things speedier, making things snappier. You know what I mean? It just gives you that, you know what I mean, instant speed. You know what I mean? Like it's taking Sonic 1 and just, you know, building it, everything up. So I think probably, honestly though, if I'm gonna narrow it all down, probably the spin dash. So I think you hit the nail on the head, King Galactics. Speed is probably the best thing about
First
Sonic
one
2.
alternates between being wicked fast and this one commits
It's
to
the spin dash. To me, I'm like, for me, I think it's a spin dash.
Through a level, almost nothing slows you down at all. It works the platforming
Because I think the spin dash is indicative of all those things that I said too, where it's like it
if you fuck up, you go down to the
enhances all those things.
platforming route. But if you react fast enough, you can bypass just about all of it and keep up a consistent tempo. And it does so better than any of the other 2D games.
All right. Spin dash also makes movement at a standstill much easier. The spin dash also makes movement at standstill, which King Galactus, I cannot read. The spin dash also makes movement at standstill much easier in tighter spaces, which adds additional depth to the traditional platforming sections. Gotcha. King K in the chat says, "Hero, I need a hero." But yeah, I think if we want to narrow it down, King Galactics, I think we're going to narrow it down. I'm going to narrow it down to the spin dash because it's indicative of just refining everything. It's a refinement of everything. You want instant speed, boom, there you go. Are you going to get handed speed to? Like, are you going to get handed speed to you? No, you still got to be able to navigate the levels. But like, it's quicker, snappier, and it's you know, they listened and was like, all right, we're going to improve on that. Go.
Sonic CD, time travel. Okay, I know this one's pretty obvious.
Now, this one, let me let him talk. Let's let him talk.
Stupid not to call it out here. If Sonic runs through a past, present, or future sign and maintains top speed for long enough, he can warp to a version of that level from a different time period, which makes the scenery either look super prehistoric and natural or super dystopian and polluted. It's a really cool gimmick to give each level more depth, and something similar to this in a 3D game would be fucking awesome.
For Sonic CD, I think the best thing about Sonic CD is the soundtrack. I think that's the best thing about Sonic CD. It is instrumental in the way that a lot of people. I think also the mood of Sonic CD, man, might be the thing about is the best thing about it is that like it all around it just has good music. Even if we're talking about Japan, or American, both of the soundtracks are dope. I steer a little bit more towards Japan, the Japanese soundtrack, because it's just like it's so funky and it's so like it definitely sets a mood, it sets a tone, and I think that's the strongest thing about Sonic CD. Obviously, like, you know, being able to go, but you know, he's talking about the time travel and going between levels and all that stuff. All that stuff is great. But all that stuff is great, like being able to like see every single different, you know, aspect of it. But I think the time travel thing, it can get, especially with original Sonic CD, traveling between time can get a little hectic and it can get a little cumbersome. You know what I mean? And it's a little. In case said the intro, that's a good point. King Galactic says, Sonic CD equals exploration. I'm not a fan of the pinball level design, honestly, but it really encapsulates how lost you can get exploring the beautiful stages. That's not even mentioning generators. Oh yeah, music is an iconic part of this game. People love the vibes of this to this day. Yeah, for sure. Now, here's the thing that you're saying about exploration. What you're saying about exploration, I absolutely agree. I agree with you when it comes to this game. Boom. That's where they took CD's exploration and then they were like, yo, let's actually give that some structure, because the problem with CD is that the structure, the way that the level design is built, it's all over the place. It's all over the place. It's so like, where am I going? What do I do if I start exploring? I'm just like, I don't know where I am, what I'm doing, what's happening. You know what I mean? So I think I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna apply it to here. Now, what he says about this one, what does he say?
Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Again, another really obvious one, but I don't care.
Knuckles, yeah, you know. That's an easy answer. Knuckles is an easy answer.
He's strong.
How could you not like Knuckles? But I do think that that's an easy answer. King K said Sonic Boom, Sonic Boom, Sonic Boom. Did you hear that? Have you ever heard the there's a remix of that somebody did. I forgot who it was. I think it's a Jun Sanue version of that. Or a Crush 40 version of that. And they did that. I was like, yo, this is stupid nasty, dude. But yeah, that intro though, you got a good point, King K. That intro is nice. That is it's nice. Let's keep going.
We ever got from a Sonic game at the time, and it did so without a single word of dialogue. Honestly, this is peak classic Sonic storytelling, and Knuckles' character is a very easy one to empathize with.
Okay. King like to say Sonic 3 Knuckles equals everything. He said all of it. It evolves and improves the philosophies of the previous titles and adds an engaging story, alternate gameplay with unique levels. Was unheard of before Sonic 3 Knuckles. Crush 40 version is my favorite. You know, Galactics, I think I'm going to give it to you. I think Sonic 3 Knuckles is possibly the pinnacle of the franchise. If it's not it's definitely, as far as like 2D goes, definitely as far as like 2D goes. You know, if you don't want to give to it, I'm like, that's definitely the best I'm like, that and Mania are the best that 2D Sonic can give you. I would say arguably Sonic 3 Knuckles is just flat out the best the franchise has offered so far. But that's just me. That's also could be me being biased and all that. King K said Crush 40 version is my favorite. Oh yeah. I said that already. Yeah, I love that version. That version is like stupid good, dude. Stupid good, stupid nasty. I was like, ooh, they did that. I was like, ugh. King K said, you can honestly argue Sonic 3 Knuckles was as iconic to platforming and gaming as a whole compared to games like Half-Life and Portal. Sonic 3 standalone equals exploration. Sonic and Knuckles standalone equals Sonic 3 standalone equals exploration. Sonic and Knuckles standalone equals story. Yeah, and then you smash them together, dude. You get the best of both worlds. Here's the thing. Here's what I tell people all the time, and this is not a knock against other Sonic games. I'm like, I feel like, and I want to say this, and I don't mean any disrespect to any of the other Sonic games. I think they're all fantastic games. But when I say this, what? Green is waterlogged? What you talking about? Oh, you talking about because I got it on pause. What was I about to say? I got knocked out. I thought I got knocked out of my train of thought. I think that hold on, let me turn the sound up real fast. Okay. Of all the Sonic games, I feel like if somebody were to be like, pick one Sonic game, I feel like Sonic 3 Knuckles is truly a masterpiece amongst all the other Sonic games that you can take that one Sonic game and put it amongst the pantheon of other great video games of all time. And I don't see any other Sonic game like that. That's just me. But if I were like to take one Sonic game, they were like, give me one Sonic, and I'm like, that's the one. I'm like, I don't see any other. I think there are other very, very great Sonic games, but I feel like Sonic 3 Knuckles is actually the one game where they were like, we took everything we learned and mastered it. And boom, here it is. And it's like, this is one of the greatest platformers, full stop, of all time. He said, King K said my screen. I thought you were talking about like why I got it on pause. But yeah, I would say for Sonic 3 Knuckles, I would definitely say the strongest aspect of that game, kind of like what King K said, I think we're on the same wavelength right now, is just pretty much everything. It's mastery of the entire, exactly what you have and utilizing it to its fullest extent.
Sonic 3D Blast, making the most of the hardware.
Pushing the hardware.
At a time where everyone wanted to see Sonic's answer to Mario 64, Sega. Getting this as your big Sonic game for the Sega Saturn was underwhelming to say the least. But people forget this game was developed for the Sega Genesis and was only ported to the Saturn because Sonic Extreme got cancelled. And when you see it like that, it's easier to forgive a lot of its shortcomings. The most 3D a 16-bit console could really do looked like that. That's not good. So the decision to make it an isometric 3D
Oh, I think you mean Galactic. Did I say the wrong thing? See, here's the problem when I got two kings in my chat. I got two kings in my chat, so I knew this day would come where both of y'all would be in the same chat, and then I would be like, all right, I'm getting y'all mixed up. The best thing about Sonic 3 and Knuckles, I think, like he said, it's probably, I think I kind of agree with that, are the graphics. I think that they are impressive. They're interesting to look at. Unfortunately, that's all I really good I have to say about the game. I think the gathering the flicky mechanic would be, I always thought about if we're for instance, if you take Sonic Frontiers, if you take the whole flicky mechanic and apply that to Sonic Frontiers and you don't tie it to progression or anything like that, it's just you go around the map and save animals. I think that is a very good thing to take away from Sonic 3D Blast. I think that's a strong sense of gathering all the animals up, you know what I mean, to save them. But the problem, with 3D Blast is that, that's the whole that's how you get through the entire game. And I'm that's the only thing I don't. But we're not talking about what I don't like about it. We're talking about the strengths of these games. Is what we're talking about. Like they say, Sonic 3 Blast equals home and attack. I never played the game, but the Genesis version is basically the original Sonic 3 3D concept, so it's got to be good, especially when the home and attack isn't a movement crutch like later games and adds to the jump. It's probably not the home and attack because the home and attack is kind of funky in that game. I mean, if you never played it before, I have played it. It's kind of funky. You need to have the shield. You got to have the orange shield basically, and then you have to use it, and it's kind of, it doesn't always work. And when it does work, it's kind of I could have just rolled through the enemy. The isometric part is the problem with the game, where it's you can't really tell your position. It's kind of difficult telling your position in the game. You know what I mean? So the home and attack kind of makes it work, but the best part, I think, it's kind of difficult to explain. You have to get your hands on it and play it. But yeah. Let's see. Movement crunch like the later games adds to the jump. Yeah. We don't want movement. We don't want movement crutches. That's what we don't want. We want to kind of eliminate those. You know what I mean? That's what I don't like about the home and attack. But the good thing, again, we're talking about the good things. And the good thing about Sonic 3D Blast, to me, I think the best part is the graphics. You know what I mean? And the music. Oh, the soundtrack in that game. Oh, the soundtrack. Not the Saturn version. Forget that. Get that version out of here. Sorry. This is not a Sonic CD situation. This is definitely the soundtrack. And I might even change everything I just said to the soundtrack. I think the soundtrack is probably the best thing about this game also. King K said the flicky mechanic was so damn annoying. In this game, in concept, I think it's a good idea. In execution in this game, it's annoying. I think that let me clarify that. I think the concept of grabbing all the flickies together to save them is a good idea. When I said that, you know what I mean? But actually doing it in this game is oh my God, you got to grab them. And before you can move on to the next level, you got to grab every single one of them. And then if you get hit, they get clipped. They're lost somewhere in the level. Then you ain't got no radar to find them. Then you got to add a mod to be able to put a radar in there so you can find out where they are in the level. Because if you don't have that in the vanilla game, you are looking all over the level and being where's the flicky at? You know what I mean? Galactic say, fair enough, LOL.
Actually,
all right, we're moving along.
Like the series needed at the time, but for a Genesis game, that's as 3D as you're getting. And I'd say it's pretty impressive for a console that came out in the late 80s.
I'll give him that.
Sonic Adventure, different gameplay style.
I don't agree with that one. That's the one I don't agree with. Different gameplay styles. I don't agree with that.
Now, the plethora of gameplay styles can be seen as a bad thing because it gives some styles.
Trigor in the chat said, yo, it's prime
just
time. That's what something about me and my cousin used to say all the time.
Is still phenomenal. Some of the best design levels in the history of the series. The Tails levels, equally, really freaking good, and bring in a fun extra objective of beating Sonic to the end. The Knuckles levels, while not my thing, give you a more in-depth look at these areas that Sonic just zoomed through. The E102 Gamma levels.
I think the best thing, I'm gonna pause the video. I think the best thing about Adventure is the idea, the introduction of a world interconnected with other worlds. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to default to saying the music because the music is incredible. In case said, I like the spin dash in this game. Very good. Very good. Broken, in fact. Broken, but very good. I don't think the different gameplay styles are the thing that everybody's looking for. Or everybody champions when they talk about a Sonic game. I think actually the best thing about this game, I'm gonna take that back. I think the best thing about this game is the movement. I think this is the best Sonic has felt movement wise in any Sonic game. Just being able to traverse and get around. So it kind of plays into what you were saying, King K. Everything about it feels great. Feels fantastic. I have no issue, no qualms. I think the jump is perfect. Sometimes it can be like a little bit floaty, but like other than that, I think the jump is perfect. I think the spin dash is perfect. I think that, you know, moving in 360 movement is perfect. I think like it feels snappy, it feels zippy. I'm not talking about we're not talking about the bad things. We're not talking about the bad things. Get that out of your head. I just wish that the level design would accommodate for it. You know what I mean? Because like sometimes when you start trying to do, like, it moves so smoothly that you want the level to move as smooth with it, and it doesn't. Like a lot of times Sonic can get caught up on a lot of parts of the game, and I think that's the only thing that snaps me out of it. It's the only thing that snaps me out of it. So I think that is the best part of Sonic Adventure 1. NK said, the general transition of 2D momentum gameplay into 3D. Yep. Which is what I wish Frontiers adopted. Of course. Of course. Even though the movement in Frontiers is not bad either. You know what I mean? Except for when you get to the cyberspace levels, then it's atrocious. But they got close. That's the fun. I'm gonna get to there I'm gonna get to Frontiers when I get to Frontiers. You feel me?
It's really fun, blow stuff up. The big and Amy levels kind of suck, but it's not a big deal because you're not forced.
Yeah, let's go. We're all on the same page. King Galactic's Sonic Adventure equals movement. While it's understandably not accurate to CS dev time limit, it's still very fun to move smoothly around levels, and its mastery is incredible to do. Let's go. We're all on the same page. Yes. I had to think about it for a second too. I was like, oh, the world and stuff. And I was like, no, not really. I was like, really, it's the movement. I remember I actually like got in an argument with somebody. And they were like, you really think the movement in Sonic Adventure is the best in the series? What? Are you crazy? I was like, have you not played the game? I'm like, are you high? King Galactic said, I argue the open hubs, the proto open zones, LOL. Okay. I would argue against the open hubs. That's the only thing I would like. I think what Frontiers is trying to do is trying to be a better version. Because every time going back to Sonic Adventure, man, every time I have to go through the hubs, man, I'm always like, oh, I don't want to do this. This is just like there's not a lot of real expert. Like there's not a lot of real, like when you first played it, there was a lot of exploration. You were like, oh, but like that sense of exploration is kind of gone, and it like over the years, and I'm kind of like, I feel like this is just a stopgap to get to the levels, unfortunately. And I'm like, I want this world to be bigger and more grander, and you know what I mean, like, and I want to find little goodies here and there and all that stuff, and there's just not enough of that in Adventure, and that's the only thing I would say. But I think that they were on the right track when they were doing it. PK said, sorry, I don't have the M word pass. The M word? Momentum? Yeah. Good point, King K. But that's the thing, like that's the thing too. Like the movement in Frontiers is fun, but it's the momentum that is missing. You know what I mean? The word that nobody can say. We can't say momentum. Oh my God, that'll send people into a tizzy. But yeah, King K said, I wish Sonic Adventure 2 had the open hubs. It makes me feel more connected to the world you're saving, which is part of why I like Unleash and its climax. All right, We're gonna get to that. We'll get to that. We will get to that.
You can enjoy all of Sonic's levels by playing just his.
Because that's a good point. Let's keep a pin in that.
Being interrupted by these slower and sometimes less fun levels for the sake of progression, like some later games make you do. And if you absolutely despise one of these playstyles,
I like that we're all on the same page with the movement. I'm like, yay, let's do it. We did. Look, we all agree. People say Sonic fans can't agree. We can agree.
And I absolutely love that about him.
All right.
Sonic Adventure 2 story. The Sonic and Shadow.
I absolutely 100% agree with that. I think that Sonic Adventure 2, I think the absolute best part of this game is the story. Just because the progression of it is so, it's like Sonic itself, right? It's so fast, it's so zippy, it's so punchy, it's very to the point. It doesn't waste any time. It doesn't do none of that. It is very much like, yo, Eggman is doing this thing. He got a whole new crew with him. We got to stop him. That's it. And then what proceeds after that are some of the rawest moments that I wish would be remade, but are some of the rawest moments in Sonic, the whole Sonic gaming history. You feel me? Kincaid said Sonic Adventure 2 equals story. See, there we go. We're doing it. There we go. I sounded like Vector when I said that. I haven't played the game and I won't pretend to, but the story is just iconic in 2000s culture and beyond. It's aged, but it is timeless. Here's the thing. I think the graphics have aged, obviously. You know what I mean? Like Adventure 1, Adventure 2, those graphics have aged. Adventure 1 is super aged, but Adventure 2, I think the story still is so good that it sticks out. You know what I mean? And it still makes you go like, obviously, this looks terrible. But I think that the camera movement between the cutscenes better than a lot of other Sonic games. Like honestly, like you can see what they were trying to do. You know what I mean? And again, like if you watch the game again, you watch the cutscenes and the way it moves around and all this stuff or whatever, like the way that the camera pans around, the way it's directed and all that stuff. It's very much like we are trying to create like a movie-like thing, which a lot of Sonic games stop doing after a while. And like, especially newer Sonic games, I'm like, come on, man. I think it's a story. Now to go back to King K, said, I wish Sonic Adventure 2 had open hubs, makes you feel more connected. Yeah, that's the one thing about the adventure games that like, I think, 2 is missing. Where it's like, you want open worlds and open hubs and all that stuff. Just places to explore would be nice. And I think you can do one or the other. I think you can have a mode where you have a mode where you explore the world, and then a mode where you don't have to explore the world. You can just go straight through the levels. But I would have liked to have areas where I'm exploring and then grabbing things. Probably even for Chow, you're gonna grab things, go in the world, grab things for the Chow, bring it back to the Chow. You know what I mean? Level them up and all that stuff, whatever. You can do it already in the levels, but I think a actual hub would have helped with that. King K said the climax. Okay. Yeah, the climax. Yeah, bro. Like you can't. It's tough to get more hype than that, bro. The all hands on deck moment where villains and heroes come together to save the world. Yeah, I was like, this is one of, yeah. And it was the first time that happened like that too. And I was like, yo, I can't believe this is happening. I'm like, first of all, I can't believe I'm playing with the bad guys. But then second of all, I can't believe that all this is coming to a head and we're just here everybody just save the world. And it's like crazy, which is why, to follow up with this, it's difficult to follow up with that. You get heroes and then people are like, this ain't Sonic Adventure 2 though. But it's like, it's difficult to follow up with that, man. It is though. Galactic said, I am running out of charge on this phone, LOL, so I'll be right back. And you can tell me what I missed. I'll add those points for my experiment. All right, bet. See you soon. All right, man. Yeah, please come back, Galactic. I would like for you to be in the discussion for sure.
Levels are peak Sonic gameplay, but I think the story stands out as the biggest highlight. Sure, there's a lot of plot points that are kind of dumb, and some things just make no sense, but it finds the balance between being a super silly and super serious.
Of course, that's the thing. When you sit down and you start actually thinking about like Sonic Adventure 2 and you start thinking about its story and all that, like you start picking it apart, obviously it doesn't make sense. None of it, it's all nonsensical. That's not the point. The point is that all the stuff looks raw, you know what I mean? And you're in it in the moment. You know what I mean? You're not there to look at it and be like, let me, does this make this little thing over here make sense to this thing little over here? Why didn't he do this instead of that? It's not that. That's not the point. You know what I mean? The point is that, we're trying to like everything, all the cutscenes and all of the story, everything that encapsulates everything in that game, dude, is a fast, frantic experience, and it's just entertaining to watch. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter that it's like, oh, he could have did this thing over here. Why didn't he just shoot her? Why didn't he just do this? Why didn't he do that? It doesn't matter. The point is like, I'm in the moment. I'm watching this right now and watching Sonic blow it up, like running as fast as he can, or going against Shadow, or you know what I mean, like, Eggman has a situation where he's got Amy and they're like, he's about to destroy, he's about to kill her or whatever, and then Sonic is like, oh, I got the I'm gonna give him the fake emerald or whatever, and you're sitting there like, oh, is he gonna do it or whatever? And then Eggman's like, nah, I already know your game, bruh. I know your game. That's what it's about. That's the fun part about the story of those games. Mr. King K said, live and learn while fighting the Biolizard, especially as it's close to the earth and on fire, is hype. Granted, if you have a more serious story, people are going to pick it apart more seriously, of course. You know what I mean? Obviously. But that's not the point. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, don't get bogged down into that stuff. Like, when you start looking at it, it's like, yeah, you can pick it apart. The stories aren't really well put together when it comes to that. But it's the fact that what's happening is so entertaining that none of that stuff really. You can do the same thing with like Endgame or Infinity War. You can do the exact same thing. You can start picking apart every single little thing in that movie and be like, none of this makes sense. But it's not the point. The point is that what you're watching on screen is so entertaining and you're so into it that you're just like, I don't care about all that stuff. All this shit is awesome. You know what I mean?
And it rides that line almost flawlessly. I don't know if it did so on purpose, because a lot of the funniest moments were probably not intended to be, but Ryan Drummond's high-pitched, cartoony Sonic voice and the colorful cast makes the story feel really fun.
Oh, I miss Ryan Drummond.
There are more serious elements like the fucking moon getting blown up and Shadow's not girlfriend
in the past
dying. It still finds a way to feel really lighthearted. Where every other Sonic
gotta learn from Rafiki. Gotta leave it in the past.
Or swoops down to all-time lows to make little kids laugh, this one hits it right on the mark. Honorable mentions go to the first adventure and Unleashed, though. The Sonic Advance trilogy.
Oh, we're talking about Sonic Advance.
I always group these games together because, I'll be honest, I've only played a little bit of the first one, but the best thing I've gathered about them is the star-studded playable character lineup. You get Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, and Cream the Rabbit, so you can play through the main game as whoever your favorite character is, and I really, really like that.
Hold on, hey, hold on now. Going too fast. Slow down a little bit. Seriously, I mean, I would feel the same about those other media, to be fair. Well, yeah, that's my point. That's my point. Like, mind you, I'm not saying don't pick the things apart, right? I'm not saying that, like, don't do that, don't hold them accountable or anything like that. I'm saying, like, I'm just saying, like, don't get bogged down into that. You know what I mean? Because it ruins the fun. You get what I'm saying? Unless you just like to do those things, and then it's different. But like, when you do that and you get bogged, like when you understand the purpose of what is trying to be shown to you, like when you understand the purpose of it, you're like, it's easier to like get into it and be like, and digest it and be like, oh, like this is just fun to watch. You know what I mean? And then when you start going back and starting to be like, if you start going back and you start being like, none of this makes sense. This story's stupid. You know what I mean? Like it sucks the fun out of it. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Now, there are people that look at it the opposite way, where they're like, I need things to be airtight and everything needs to make absolute sense. And if it doesn't make absolute sense, I don't like it. And there are people like that. And I'm like, there's more. Look, if that's how you look at things, that's cool. You know what I mean? I just personally don't look at things like that, where I'm like, what is the purpose? And I'm like, am I entertained by this? Whether it is an airtight story or whether there's just a lot of flashy things going on in my face or there's just a bunch of hype moments. I'm like, what is the purpose of this? And I'm like, if one thing is lacking for the other thing or whatever, I'm like, this does this really well. But like, if you know what I mean? It's just, I don't always care about an airtight story. You can have the most airtight stories and it'll be a boring thing to watch. You know what I mean? Did he count Advance 1, 2, 3 as one? He did. Being lazy. I don't want to get into every single one of those. And in fact, I might actually skip. You know what? I just talked about them and I'm about to be lazy too. I might just skip Advance because I'm just like, the best thing about them are that they add like movement, like they add new movements to the characters. And they try to push something different than your standard, like, spin dash and then home and attack. And then like they try to have different mechanics with the characters. You know what I mean? Whether that's like, Advance 3 where they, you have the team up mechanic and then you throw them up in the air or whatever, or like you combine characters and then, Tails can throw Sonic in the air, or, all the other characters, all their separate abilities and all that stuff. I think trying to advance Sonic's movement is the best part about the Advance games. For instance, like Sonic Advance 2. Let me not be lazy. Sonic Advance 2. The kind of like the precursor to the boost was like the break I forgot the mechanic what it's called, but like when he's running at top speed and then like once he hits top speed he breaks out of it and starts going faster. That might be the most fun thing in a Sonic game, period. Like one of the most fun mechanics in the Sonic game, period. You know what I mean? Or like just Sonic Advance 1 where he's got the somersault into the slide or whatever. I think that's the best thing about those games, not necessarily just the characters, because you can have there's a bunch of characters in a bunch of Sonic games. You know what I mean? And I don't, the characters themselves is like, I don't think that's the big whoop about those games.
I really, really like that. Sonic Heroes, the team mechanic.
The team mechanic.
Another choice that's really predictable. But once again, can you really blame me? The team mechanic in Sonic Heroes is what makes the game memorable in the first place. It takes the idea of characters having their own unique attributes and being able to reach new routes because of them, and makes that a central part of the gameplay, which works really well. Now instead of going back to levels as a new character, you can make a quick switch to reach those paths. And these abilities are actually mandatory to use in unison in order to reach the end of most levels, and it's awesome. It's not.
I think the complexity of those movesets is what makes Sonic Heroes so good. Or what is good about Sonic Heroes good. It's that we're not just using one button, two button. And I love simplicity in games. The simplicity of like using minimal button movements to getting the maximum output out of simple buttons. You know what I mean? I do like that, but this game does the opposite of sometimes the newer games where like you're just holding a button or just moving. Like if you take Forces, for example, this is the complete opposite of Forces, but like actually pressing buttons wise, you're using every range of button in this game. Whereas Forces, you're just holding one button and you just win. You know what I mean? King Gay said, Advance 1 sprites, okay. Advance 2 high speed movement, okay. I agree with those. Advance 3 buddy titles, haven't played yet. It's fun. Play it when you get the chance. Play it when you can just combining the characters. You'll play it and you'll be like, why hasn't this been in any other Sonic game since then? You know what I mean? It's one of those things. Again, Advance is for me. I'm like, it's even with what you said about the sprites. It's just the progression of classic Sonic in all those aspects. And it's like, why haven't we done that since then? We've regressed or we've kind of stayed stagnant in the same spot. Even with Mania. I love Mania, but Mania does not do a lot to expand on what's already came before. You know what I mean? It very much refines those things, but it doesn't expand past what we've done already. Minus the special stages. I do really like the special stages in that game. King K said boost mode. Team themes. I still need to finish Heroes. Heroes is not easy to finish, dude. It is not easy. It gets real jank sometimes, and you got to play with the teams. You got to play with teams 4 separate times, and that can get a little daunting. You know what I mean? So, just pace yourself. Come back to it every once in a while. That's what I've done. Every time I revisit Sonic Heroes, that's what I do. But yeah, my pick for Sonic Heroes is, the complexity of all of your mechanics.
Perfect, but no gameplay style is on the first time around. It's just a shame we never got a sequel that fully polished and fleshed this idea out.
Yeah.
Shadow the Hedgehog, multiple endings.
I agree with that.
The game makes you get all the multiple endings is dumb, but the idea of your actions in the stage affecting the way the story plays out is super cool. The good guys and bad guys are both spewing orders at you throughout the game, and whatever objectives you decide to complete change both how the level is played and how the plot unfolds, which I would love to see implemented in a more traditional Sonic game that doesn't have guns and cursing.
Okay, I agree with that. I actually do agree with almost everything he said. I'm like, I think that is the most. I think that's the best thing about the game is the idea of multiple endings, and not being like and not being like, yo, we've got to tie all of them all together into one thing, because then that defeats the whole purpose of having multiple endings. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where I was like, I felt like that was a missed opportunity with Frontiers, where I was talking about, like, you know, everybody was talking about the moon, and they were talking about like, yo, everybody sees the moon everybody sees the end in a different way. And I'm like, okay, if that was actually their goal, they should have like a thing at the end where like everybody randomly gets a different object of what the end is. So then when we all go online, everybody's like, look at this, I got a moth or whatever. And then somebody's like, hold on, how'd you get a moth? I got a moon. And then somebody else is like, hold on, how'd you get a moon? I got a death face, or like, I got a grim reaper or whatever. And I think that would have been interesting. But that plays into Shadow the Hedgehog, where you have multiple. I mean, any of the Sonic games where you have multiple endings or whatever. But like Shadow really dug into that, where it was like, yo, you choose your own path, and you can have a multiple ending. You know what I mean? And I think that was very interesting until they were like, you got to beat all of them to get the true ending. And I'm like, come on, man. I'm like, because now it becomes a chore. It's not fun. It just becomes a chore. Like I said, I'm going to say I like the weapons. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't even got to do all that. Like I told you, man, free thought, free speech here, all that. The weapons aren't even the worst thing about Shadow the Hedgehog. It was just like, at the time, it was like, it's goofy that you see a hedgehog, you see a cartoon hedgehog holding an AK. You know what I mean? That was the goofy part. But the actual gunplay itself in the game, that's not fun. You know what I mean? Those parts are fun. I think the thing that tanks Shadow the Hedgehog are the controls themselves. Like the way his movement, the way he moves and stuff. That's what I'm like, ugh. And I think the levels are too light. Ooh, I'm like, we'll get into that later. We're only talking about the good things. Moy said, Mac wants to fight the moon. Just play Bloodborne, bro. No, you play Sonic the Hedgehog, because the moon is always in danger in Sonic games. It's always in danger. He said, plus multiple endings. Said, just play Bloodborne. You know what? Honestly, though, Moist, I've been wanting to play Bloodborne for the longest time, and I've been waiting for because I'm not going back and play. I'm not getting a PlayStation 5. It's a wrap. I'm not getting a PlayStation 4. It's a wrap. I've been waiting for them to release that game on something else, and they just won't do it. They just won't do it. So I'm going to have to look for the Dusk Bloods when it comes out on the Switch. Because that's my only alternative. Because there's got to be something going on with Bloodborne. There's got to be something going on with it. Shadow with guns goes hard, not going to lie. Now it does. Back then, we was like, what? Imagine, like, you have to think about how we thought about it back then. Like, think about how we thought about it back then. Like, we looked at Sonic like, we didn't look at Sonic how we look at Sonic now. We looked at Sonic back then like, kind of like a Mickey Mouse character. You know what I mean? Even with Shadow, we were kind of like, okay, this isn't like, the tone isn't quite like that. So when we saw that, the shift was so hard that you were like, huh? You're like, why does he have an AK? Moy says, oh yeah, they're never gonna release it on anything else, LOL, or give us a sequel or remaster. Something, do something, and I will play that. I will play that game because I want to play that game more than any other FromSoft game. I want to play that game so bad, and I just won't get it. They just won't give it to us.
Sonic Rush, the boost mechanic. This game introduced the boost style of gameplay, and it handles a lot better in 2D than it does in most of the 3D games that came after. That's mainly because the 2D perspective is much easier to maneuver and platform in, and therefore lends itself to supersonic speed a lot better. Where 3D boost games have a lot of these hallway sections and had to incorporate things like the quick step to compensate for Sonic's bad traction and maneuverability, this game being 2D is much more simple to control and maintains the feeling of high speed without compromising actual gameplay.
I actually I don't know if I agree with that. I think the best thing about Sonic Rush, because the thing is, like, he's saying, like, it's just a boost, or it's like you just have long sections of like being able to boost and all that, which is fine. But Rush has an intro. You know what? I'll concede. Never mind. I'll concede. I'll give that to him, because that is one of those games where it's like all the levels start to blend together and they all kind of feel samey because you are just boosting. But isolated by itself, if that's the one game that does that, I'll be like, you know what? This is just a good time. I'll give him that. Also, there's the soundtrack. King K said, y'all ain't want Sonic to have shit. No swords, no guns. Hey, man, listen, man. We were just, listen. I'm sorry, man. Look, that's how we was back then, bro. That's how we was, bro. We was like, does this make sense? You know what I mean? That was the thing. We wasn't thinking about, again, it's style over substance. It's style. It's the same thing. It's the same argument we were having where it was like, don't think too hard. Like the same argument we were having with Adventure 2, right? It's like, don't think too hard about it. We were thinking too hard about it. It's not, it's, you got to think about the style over substance. To me, in my brain, I'm like, why does Sonic have a sword if he's already a saw blade? Like, he can already roll and saw through things and all that stuff or whatever, right? That's what I was thinking back then. But you think about it nowadays, you're like, Sonic with a sword is just raw. That's just raw. You know what I mean? It's just a cool thing to see. You know what I mean? But it's the same thing with the gun. We were like, why do you have a gun? You have powers that are better than that. You know what I mean? You don't need it's kind of like Spawn, where it's like you don't need the guns, dog. You already have powers that are like way better than that. Way better than that. But this, just seeing him riding on a bike with a gun, you're like, okay, that is kind of hype. You're like, it's kind of hype. It's absolutely lunatic work, absolute lunacy, but it's like, it's hard though. Moy said, I'll just ship you my PS4 so you can play Bloodborne. LOL. He gonna ship me. Bro, take my PS4, bro. You need to play that game, bro. He said no furries. I'm talking about Sonic the Hedgehog. Here we go, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Level design. Yes, I clickbaited you with 06's story being the best thing, but I will touch on
people always talk about the level design in this game, and
as bad as it's made out to be. It is super confusing and way too dark for essentially a kid's game, I'll give you that, but Silver is a really good character, Amy has one of her best portrayals, and the Sonic Shadow rivalry is in full effect. Yes, the kiss is kind of weird, and Eggman looks like
he said no furries.
I know, but at least it tried something new and was actually somewhat entertaining. Anyways, the level design. This is the final entry to feature the adventure style of gameplay, so you already know I dig it. Instead of the 2D, 3D hybrid stages that Boost style is known for, this game offers full 3D environments that maintain a feeling of speed while providing more room to explore and discover faster routes. It's not as open-ended as Adventure 1's levels, but isn't as linear as Adventure 2's either. It finds...
Here's what I'm going to say about the level design. King K said it's not dark. Yeah, it's not dark. Again, you know, when did this come out? When was this video? 10 months ago? So everybody's using the word. If it's one of those things where it's like people use the word dark to describe a mood. If the tone is serious or more serious, people just resort to saying dark, and it's like, it's not dark. You know what I mean? It has moments where it can get dark, but like not even then, not really. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's exactly what I was talking about yesterday, where I'm like, yo, use specific words. Stop just resorting to dark to describe a thing. Just because something is serious does not mean it's dark. Dark, serious, and serious are not the same thing. I think the best thing about Sonic 06 is, people would say the music and I wouldn't fault them for that. I think the best thing about Sonic 06 are its cutscenes, or it's the pre-rendered cutscenes. Let me be very specific about that. I think the cutscenes are top notch. Because like I can look at those cutscenes and I'm like, yo, these are like super good, dude. Like for no reason. That was like that. If we didn't have if Unleashed wasn't as good as it is, it would like this game would have been like, yo, people refer to those cutscenes better. In this game better. If the story wasn't as goofy as it is. Let's see, level design or Mephiles, even though he's kind of dumb. Yeah, Mephiles is kind of he's just a one up on Sonic. Like there was Sonic the Hedgehog, and then Knuckles was the cool. It was like it's the bad Sonic, and then Shadow was like, it's the bad Sonic again. You know what I mean? And then you had Mephiles is like, it's the bad Shadow. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those things where it's like, yo, like guys, enough. Mephiles though is cool. He's like whatever. He's cool. The level design in this game, I know a lot of people say that, and I won't take that away from them. I kind of disagree with that because I'm like, the level design doesn't accommodate for like the thing is like the Sonic feels so bad to move in this game that it ruins the way the level design feels, which is exactly what this dude said. But like, even without that, like if he felt like Sonic did in Sonic Adventure, and you were moving around like he does in Adventure in this game, I don't feel like the levels accommodate for him rolling around and all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's I don't think the platforming in this game is really interesting. You know what I mean? Because when you isolate it and you're like, yo, the level design has a lot of pathways. It's in 3D and it has got a lot of pathways and sections that you can go to and this and that and the other. Like, yeah, but like the actual platforming itself, jumping onto things themselves is not really all that to me. I think maybe the level structure as far as like, I brought my water. Maybe I think maybe the level structure is really good. You can agree with me. Like I'm not saying I'm right or anything like that. This is just my opinion. But the level structuring in the game I think is a strong suit, but I think the design itself, like actually platforming, is not that great. Moy says Mac is dark. That's right. I love my dark skin. I love it. EK said what Mephiles does in the context of what he's trying to achieve is kind of dumb, but he still manages to feel menacing and leave an impact. That's what I'm saying. Like good way to pinpoint that. Cause yeah, like he is menacing, and he's menacing because like he killed Sonic. That's one of the reasons why, because it's like he feels like he actually can like do something harmful. And you don't see that. You haven't seen another Sonic game. And mind you, I'm not even one to be like, yo, put Sonic in moments where he's killed or anything like that. I'm like, we don't even got to go that far. But like, he is one of those characters where when you see him, you're like, whoa. Everything's be careful. You know what I mean? All right, let's keep going.
It's a really nice middle ground that honestly, without the bugs and god-awful loading screens breaking the immersion, could be great.
King Galactus, hurry up, man. Your part's coming. Sonic Rush Adventure. I think. Let's see.
Soundtrack.
He said the soundtrack
is loaded in the music department. And while there is a handful of soundtracks I prefer to this one, it's the best thing this game has going for it. How they managed to get this level of audio quality out of the DS, I'll never understand. But it's all very upbeat, high energy, and feel good. And that's
all right.
Exactly what I look for in video game music.
It's all right. I don't think it's better than Rush's. I don't think the soundtrack in this game is better than Rush 1. I think the best thing in Sonic Rush Adventure is the level design. Because that was one thing I was gonna say about that's what I was saying about Sonic Rush, the original. I was like, a lot of the levels feel the same when you play them. They feel the same. This doesn't do that. Like when you play this game and you play the levels, they don't all run together. Like they're very distinct and they don't run into the same pitfalls as Rush does, where it's like you get sections where like instant like not as much. Like there's not a whole level dedicated to being like, oh, you got to do this level perfect or you're gonna insta die. Like in this level or in this game, you have very few levels that do that, and I like that. Levels are refined. The level design in this game, best thing about it. King K said, now Infinite, on the other hand, hey, listen, no, King K, we're talking about the good things about Sonic games today. We're not talking about the bad things. We're not going to get into Infinite. We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to. All right, King Galactics. I wish King Galactics was here because I want to discuss this part with him.
Sonic Unleashed, the graphics. In about a year, we'll be.
I cannot argue with that.
The original Sonic the Hedgehog was in 2008. Translation: this game old, but it's still somehow the most beautiful game the series has to offer.
That is true.
The cinematic is gorgeous, and same with the other animated cutscenes. They put more effort here than they've done for any other Sonic narrative. Probably even the movies, if I'm being honest. The animations are so fluid, the characters are so expressive, and the worlds are stunning. Each of these areas is based off a real-world location, and you can just tell they put so much attention and care into doing each of them justice. Whether it's through the music, the architecture, or the locals, this game was committed to translating our world to Sonic's, and it bleeds into every aspect of the game in the best possible way. The only negative was honestly the optimization, but now with the Series X being able to run it in full HD...
Alright, wait a minute, okay. Let's see, we're not at Forces yet, therefore I can still shit on it. All right, fine, but dude, just hold it at bay. I got another video tomorrow. Trust me, we can. I want to just keep it, hold it, okay? Because tomorrow we're gonna do another video. You feel me? All right. Tomorrow we're gonna do another video, and that's where that's where you'll have your chance. That's where you can have your chance, King K. You feel me? Then we're gonna unleash on all of it, everything. No pun intended. King K said CGI cutscenes, Sonic and Chips, relationship, hub worlds. Galactus, you came back right on time, dog. I literally was just like, yo, I need Galactus right here. So here's all the games that we skipped. Or we didn't skip, but like, here's all the games that you missed. What was the last one? Adventure? We did Adventure 2. We did the advanced games. We kind of condensed the advanced games all into kind of one category, but like I touched on the best of each one. Sonic Heroes. Let's see, Shadow the Hedgehog. Sonic Rush. And Sonic 06. And Sonic Rush Adventure. And we are just now at Unleashed. And he says that the best thing about Unleashed, the same thing basically what King K is saying, is basically like the King K said you missed everything. But the CGI cutscenes, it's basically the graphics, like everything about it is like that's the top notch or whatever, right? That's not a bad pick. Here's what I'm going to say. I think that the sense of speed in this game when you're playing as Sonic is the most exhilarating and the most fun thing. That I think that is the one thing that people will come back to this game specifically for, because they're like, this game, the speed in this game is not like any other Sonic game before or after. This is the fast, like this is one of those games where it's like Sonic feels the fastest in this game. The fastest. Period. You know what I mean? And even me, like sometimes, like I said, like sometimes I go back to this game where I'm like, man, I really want to play those. Like these levels are so exhilarating that I want to come back to them and like play all of them over and over. And I just want to master them, just to see how good I am. Just like to, you know what I mean? How much faster can I go on this level? How much more can I push? You know what I mean? And it's so good. Like it's the best sense of speed Sonic has ever had in any of the games. Moy said, don't forget Bloodborne. Yeah, King Galactus, you forgot about, you missed Bloodborne too. We went on a whole Bloodborne tangent. Or tangent. King Galactus says, I'll only mention games I played, so I'll go rapid fire. So don't unpause yet. All right, we waiting on you. King K said, that Sonic opening cutscene is so hype. King K, listen, man. Listen to me. Now, I don't know what the games are doing nowadays as far as the animation goes. Like they have animations outside of the games. And I'm like, I don't know why y'all don't put the animation into the games themselves. Like, for instance, like Shadow Generations. Put the whole like Shadow story, put all that stuff inside of the game. Anyway, I say all that to say Sonic CD and Sonic Unleashed still have the best opening cutscenes. They still have that they both still have the best opening cutscenes. And even then, I'm still like, Unleashed has the best opening cutscene in all of the games. It's got the best opening cutscene, dude. It's so good. It sets the tone for everything. It's so damn good. You cannot deny it. Can't deny it. You know what I mean? King Galactic says Heroes equals gameplay system. Yep. We talked about that. If we're working around the bugs, this game has some of the best gameplay of any adventure game. The team system works so well where each player has the same type. Yet it has such a unique movement or damage that separates each enemy and even shows off their personality. Rocket Excel and Tornado Attack alone, the physics system, it really felt like Heroes was trying to improve the gameplay mechanics and faults of the previous two games. We were just talking about that. I'm gonna keep reading your stuff because I know you're gonna keep going. But we were just talking about that with Heroes where we were like, yo, I was actually, I think I brought that up. I said it in a different way than you are though, but I was like, the fact that you have forces where you press one button, you basically just press one button and you can just beat the entire game. Heroes is not like that at all. You have to use all the buttons. You know what I mean? The gameplay systems are so complex that it makes you engage a lot. You have to engage with your controller. You cannot just autopilot anything. And that is exactly what I said, where I'm like, that's the best thing about that game. The best thing about that game. King K says, so what I'm hearing is Heroes is Adventure 3. Is Heroes Adventure 3? Is Shadow the Hedgehog Adventure 3? Is Sonic 06 Adventure 3? Is Unleashed Adventure 3? Because it's called Sonic World Adventure in Japan. You know what I mean? Which one's Adventure 3? We don't know. But if you say graphics though, I will not oppose it. I think that's a good answer too.
This game's released than the original Sonic the Hedgehog was in 2008. Translation, this game old, but it's still somehow the most beautiful game the series has to offer. The opening cinematic is gorgeous, and same with the other animated cutscenes. They put more effort here than they've done for any other Sonic narrative. Probably even the movies, if I'm being honest. The animation
we just watched this.
Fluid, the characters are so
we just watched this. I'm watching it over.
Each of them justice. Whether it's through the music, the architecture.
Whoops.
Was honestly the
sorry, chat.
But now with the Series X being able to
got y'all watching the same thing twice.
At 60 FPS, you can enjoy it in its fully realized glory, and I'd highly recommend it.
All right. Ugh. I saw these two games like ugh. Galactic says Shadow 5 equals movement. Interesting. It's oddly smoother than Heroes, and it feels nice. Plus the crouch bounce. Plus the crouch bouncing on the grind rails is hilarious. You know what's crazy, King Galactics? I think you said the exact opposite of what I said, because I was like, I don't like the movement in Shadow the Hedgehog at all whatsoever. I was like, I like the multiple endings. You know what I mean? The idea of having multiple endings, with the exception of like not forcing me to, you know, get those endings to get the true ending. But having multiple endings to be like, you know, oh, you choose your own path and how you beat the game. But what ruins all that is having the ending, having a true ending and being like, you got to get all these now to get the true ending. And it's like, it defeats the whole purpose of having your own. It defeats the whole purpose. Let's see. Sonic Rush equals music. No need to explain. Yep. I'll give you that. Sonic 06 equals spatial design. That's a way of putting it. The level design of 06 is not good. I just said that. The level design of 06 is not good, mainly due to automation, but it's among the only few Sonic games which actually uses 3D space to its full extent. That's exactly what I said. I was like, I don't think the level design itself is great, but the level structuring is really good. You know what I mean? And I think, like I said, like I think if you take away, and this was my whole example. I was like, if you take away if you take away Sonic, that Sonic and Sonic 06, if you take them, you kick them out, and then you throw in the Sonic from Sonic Adventure, and you have that movement with the levels, I think it's not going to be the same. It's the level design is going to reveal itself to not be that great because like the actual platforming itself is not that great in those games. You know what I mean? But the spatial design, like you said, I think I like that term that you use. The spatial design is the part that is structured very well, where it's like you can go so many different pathways that's the part that people love. You know what I mean? The actual moment-to-moment platforming itself, not that great. King K said, I like Metal's theme. King K said, I haven't played Sonic 4. You're not missing anything, dude. If you've played any of the other classic Sonic games, you've played a better version of these two games. Any other 2D Sonic games, if you played those, you played better versions of these two games. Literally. I'm not joking when I say that. I mean that. Like, for real. Let's see. Galactus said you can bank forward, backwards, left, right, up, down, and go into entirely unique paths. If it wasn't Rush, this would have been the true foundation of Sonic gameplay today. Yeah. I gotta agree with that. Eggman in the chat. Sonic 4 Episode 1 is kind of stinky besides me outrunning Sonic. Sonic 4 Episode 2 was quite nice because it had Metal as basically the main villain. Yeah. I'll give you that. Eggman, or at least a good rival for the whole game. Okay. We'll get to Sonic 4 Episode 1 and 2 in a second. Let me read the rest of the chat. King Galactic says Sonic Unleashed equals gameplay, arcade style. Say what you want about the gameplay, but it's absolutely evolved Sonic's arcade style in the best way possible to explain what I mean. Hedgehog gameplay is more akin to platformer / arcade racer, where speed is explicit and you must maintain your flow. The important factor is to use the ring system. It's an energy source of movement, mainly boosts, but it works so good to give it explicit use and a good punishment if you can't collect rings when you get hit. I'm gonna keep on. I'm gonna keep on once he keeps. You feel me? King K say Eggman. Yeah, Eggman in the chat, bro. Watch out. Eggman said, Mr. King K, that's what I am. Sonic Adventure 2 Eggman. Oh shit, that's not. Hey, you gotta watch out for him. That was peak. That was peak Eggman. But that's basically what I said. Or what I said. That's not what I said. I didn't say. You said something different. This time, Galactics. Unleashed. I said just the sense of speed, dude. The sense of speed when you're playing with Sonic the Hedgehog, super exhilarating, super fun. And I think that's the biggest draw for, at least for me. That's the biggest draw going back to Unleashed every single time, because I'm like, yo, this game is so fast. It's the fastest feeling Sonic game. Like, period. There's no other Sonic game that feels that fast, and that's the thing I love about Unleashed the most, is where I'm like, I want to get into the level. I always like go a while without playing it and come back to playing it and be like, yo, I just want to master this all over again. It's that damn fun. Werehog gameplay is hack and slash, but it's also very akin to arcade style fire games, plus platformer, and rings work greatly as health. It has different score incentives. Okay. With the Werehog. Honestly, like I said, man, I've had a whole 180 on the Werehog, dog. I don't even think it's bad. You know what I mean? I think at times it can be very fun. You know what I mean? All right.
Both episodes of Sonic 4 being playable on smartphones. When you look at this game as an evolution of classic Sonic, it's kind of depressing. But when you realize it was primarily designed to play on a smartphone back
I don't agree with that
whatsoever. To not hate. It misses the mark both as a modern Sonic game and as a classic Sonic game, and just looks and feels so weird, especially that first episode.
I don't agree with what he's saying whatsoever.
Run, it's a more substantial gaming experience. I'll give it that.
No. Sonic 4... The best thing about Sonic 4, I didn't even think about this one, man. King Galactic says, and that's ignoring some of the movement tech in that Werehog gameplay, because if fire, unfortunately, it suffers from the same issue as other arcade games. No good tutorials, LOL. Yep, I'm all caught up. Yep, you're good. You're caught up. Well, we're doing Sonic 4 now, but you're pretty much caught up. But I agree with you. I'm not gonna. I think that you got it. I think you hit the nail on the head when it comes to Sonic Unleashed. That's not something I would disagree with. It's definitely not something I would disagree with. You're not saying anything where I'm like, nah. Sonic 4. He said the best thing about Sonic 4 is that it's on mobile, and I'm like, that's a worse experience. That's a worse experience. If you play either of those games, which I have, if you play either of those games on mobile, it's much worse. What is the good? I don't know, man. I might have to come back to Sonic 4 because I really can't think of anything. I think the one level, oh boy, I don't know. I can't really think of nothing, dude. I'm not BSing, dude. I might have to come back to Sonic 4. I kind of like the homing attack in Sonic 4. I like the way that it feels. That might be the best thing in Sonic 4. But then you got the enemy chains where it's just like, it really, this is the exact thing we were talking about where we were like, it relies way too heavy on enemy chains for movement. It like way too much. And that's the one thing I don't like about it. I like how it feels, but I don't like how they utilize it, if that makes sense. If that makes any sense.
Substantial gaming experience, I'll give it that. Sonic Colors, level themes. I wanted to give this title to Unleashed, but this game needs a positive more, so we're rolling with it. Sonic Colors features this interstellar amusement park built by Eggman, and each world hones in on certain attractions and power sources. While the graphics were super watered down, because it's still so cool to run through this colorful amusement park, these tasty dessert lands, ride on these deadly roller coasters, and see Eggman's mechanization clash with the natural beauty of Planet Wisp. I really don't like the Wisp transformations, but that's okay, because the vastness of space mixed with a tropical metropolis is a visual treat.
All right, don't skip ahead. Don't skip to Sonic Generations. Don't look. All right. What did he say? He was like the level themes. I wouldn't say that. Galactic says Sonic Colors equals art direction. I agree with that one. As much as I hate the ball bearings of that game, it has a beautiful and unique art style, which I can't deny. But as a guy who loves speculative evolution, like this is just bias on my part, as I love science fiction, but more. Wait, my fault. I skipped the whole thing. It could have gone more in depth with the world's lore and unique animal species. Part of that is because I think Planet Wisp should have been mostly stages related to the planet, not the factory. Like this is just a bias on my part. I love science fiction, but more of the science part. Okay. All right, so let me catch up on a few things. King K said, Metal's theme. I don't, even that, I'm like, whatever. I'm like, That's not even throwing me a bone. I'm just like, I honest to God, I think the best thing about Sonic 4 episode 1 and 2 is how the homing attack feels. And that's it. But to answer your question, or not your question, but to answer you, Galactus, or to touch on that, kind of what King K said. Mind you, this may be controversial for me to say, but King K said the Wisp are the highlight for me. Me too. Like it's one of those things where I'm like, if this game didn't have the Wisp, it would be bland. You know what I mean? That I honestly, guy, like 100% believe that. I'm like, this game would be bland if it didn't have the Wisp, because the Wisps on their own are fun to use. To me, I think that they're fun to use, and they give you access to multiple parts of the level that you can explore. And then you're like, oh, like even to more spots to run in the areas to go to, and you're like, yo, this opens up the game. Like if you play Sonic Colors like a regular Sonic game where you're just bulleting towards the end, it's kind of plain Jane. But when you use the Wisp powers and to get around and all this stuff, and then you find multiple pathways doing that, that's where the game opens up. When you're exploring it more, then you're like, oh, this game is kind of sick. You know what I mean? It's kind of sick. But art direction, I will not argue with that either. The level themes, when he said level themes, I'm like, I've seen better level themes. I'm not impressed by the level themes themselves more so I am with the art direction, like you said, Galactics. The art direction is the part where I'm like, yeah, I'm on board because each one is 100% dope. You know what? The themes are pretty varied on the. You know what? I'll give it to him too. I'll give that to him too. I'll give that to him too. They're pretty varied. They're pretty varied. I'll give him that. I don't think that's the strongest suit of this game, but I'll give him that. Galactic says Whisper's fun, but I wish the level design integrated them as power ups. The gameplay itself can stay the same. LOL. That's what I'm saying. I feel the same too. Like I think that they are fun to use, but they are very binary, and that's the problem. Like they're very much like, you know, first of all, when you use them, they take way too long to power up, and then on top of it, it's very, you know, A plus B type of power up. You know what I mean? It's kind of the same issue I have with Sonic Superstars, like where you're like, oh, use the color powers, and it's like, yeah, but you use them in certain areas, and they're not really like, you know what I mean? Like they don't really do anything to really enhance Sonic movements. They just are kind of like, oh, you can use this plant thing to jump up, and I'm like, well, I already have tails for that. You know what I mean? King K said it's controversial to say the main gameplay mechanic and base of the plot are the highlight. Well, I mean, it's controversial to say the main gameplay mechanic and base of the plot are the highlight. What has Forces in Lost World done in this to this franchise? It's one of those things where it's like, look, me and you, King K, like if we both say that, we're like, oh yeah, I get you. But if we said that to other people in the fan base, other people would be like, what are you talking about? I hate the Wisps. They're so bad and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, in other Sonic games, I agree with you. In Sonic Colors, I think they're okay. You know what I mean? But people don't say them. People don't think that. People just think inherently the Wisps are not good. And I'm like, I don't agree with that. I think they're utilized the best in Colors, even though I think that they could be utilized better. But I think in Colors, that was a good start. And then after that, they just kind of dropped the ball with them. And then that's where I agree, where I'm like, we don't need the Wisp anymore. We don't need them anymore. In Colors, great. Mr. King K said, a fan base, I should say, yeah. I think that it would probably spark some controversy. I think it would if we said that. Somebody, if we said that on Twitter, somebody somewhere would be like, "Oh my god!"
Sonic Generations, the quality standard of modern Sonic. Every Sonic game, yes, even the good ones, have some stages that I don't enjoy. Some are terribly designed and others just have stupid gimmicks. But this game, or more specifically, its modern half, doesn't have a single one. It goes banger after banger, and while it features a shorter playtime than most Sonic games, I'll take a smaller selection of cherry-pick courses over
I can agree with this.
At the expense of quality.
I agree with that.
Sonic Lost World, cartoony art.
I can agree with that. Hold on, good. Not that. The overall quality itself, but like specifically though, for Sonic Generations, I will say the best thing about it is its level design. I think that's the best thing about it is its level design. You feel me? 100%. Classic Sonic and modern Sonic. I think both of them. I think the levels are none of them are offensive. Bar when you get to Planet Wisp, it gets kind of shaky there. It gets a little shaky there. But I think the level design, pound for pound, is the best aspect of those games, or of Generations. Zold in the chat, he said, "Yerp." Yerp. What's good, bro? I ain't seen you in a while. Good to see you. King K said, I heard people basically blame Colors for overusing the Wisp in Lost World and Forces. Yeah. Pretty much. I hate when people think like that, when they're like, that this game is to blame for all the other games. I'm like, no, that's not. No, you don't blame the game itself. You blame the developers. You know what I mean? Or the studio. You know what I mean? And it's okay to do that. It's okay to constructively criticize them. You know what I mean? We're not gonna just bash on them, but like, you took all the wrong lessons. You feel me? You took the wrong lessons. You thought that we like those, like these things. And it's the same thing with like Zaz and Zavok. You're not reading the room. You know what I mean? Like, we're enough. We don't want Zaz and Zavok, but you keep putting them in every single game. And it's like, why? Stop. You're learning the wrong lessons. Cut it out. In case a parkour mechanic out. Yep. Me and you, same exact. Let's see. Zoe said it's been hectic with work and whatnot. LOL. I feel you, bro. Already, I know exactly. I already know how that goes, bro. Should be stupid. King Galactic says Sonic Generations equals polished. Okay. I'm not one to glaze the gameplay, but I will admire how much more polished it is in performance in some levels. Okay. Secondarily, the challenge acts, I got to play them and I really like it. I will say that there's 3 exceptional stages: Seaside Hill, Speed Highway, and Rooftop Run, and that one is just because it's Sonic Unleashed with extra paths. Okay. Don't blame the game. Blame the devs / studio for taking the wrong lessons. Yep, exactly. Yep. You missed my Jen statement. LOL. No. I'm bouncing around the comments because I'm like, I want a little bit of drive, but I got you. Don't worry about it. He said, oops, never mind. Yeah, I got you. Don't worry about it, bro. I got you. Don't worry about it. Moist said, I blame Mac personally. Listen, Moist. Don't you dare. Don't you start. All right. Don't start with me. I'll come find you. I'll find you.
Than most Sonic games, I'll take a smaller selection of cherry-pick courses over more content.
But yeah, I'm alright with that, with the polish for Unleashed. I think that is, you know, I wouldn't argue with that.
Style, where Unleashed had a beautiful, semi-realistic world, this game goes fully in the direction of a cartoon. Sonic's
I do not agree with this take at all.
Tropes are given this very
in the slightest.
Adaptation, and everything looks very simplified yet bubbly. It looks super.
King K hit it on the head. He said the parkour. That is the most alluring thing about that game. Where I'm like, I remember when I first saw Lost World, I was like, I saw that and I was like, yo, if the whole game is like that, I'm like, yo. And they didn't. It wasn't that. And on top of it, they never took anything from that. And they never, it's one of those things where it's like, that could have been another thing with Sonic games where like you could have took that mechanic, applied to another Sonic game in the future. And like, that's something interesting that expands on Sonic's movement. You know what I mean? As a whole, that could have been broke open into a whole new genre of Sonic game, and they just did not. Just didn't. They didn't utilize it to the best ability in that game, and they just left it there after that. Boy said, too late, I started. Find me, bring it up. Fight me, bro. Fight me. Let's see. Did I skip anything else? No, I think I'm good. Mr. King K said, I mean, I say blame the game that's actually responsible. Like Colors can't overuse the wisp when, wait a minute. I mean, I say blame the game that's actually responsible. Like Colors can't over reuse the wisp when it is introduced to them. Blame the other games that actually overuse them. That's what I mean. That's what I mean when I say like, when I'm like, let's talk about the developers, and I'm like, you took this mechanic, went to the next game with it, but you took you took everything that we did not like about them, you took it and you turned it up to 10. You know what I mean? So like, it spills over into Lost World, and it spills over into Forces, and it's like, that's not what we liked about these characters at all, about these mechanics at all. We didn't like that stuff. But yeah. Moy said we'll have a sleepover. I'm down for a sleepover. Let's go. Yes, party at Moist's house. Let's go. Party at Moist's house. Let's do it. King Galactic said Lost World equals either level design or parkour. Okay. For as stupid as the level design can be, it's the only 3D Sonic game to actually deviate from Sonic Adventure 1's flawed philosophy. Okay. And if the parkour system was more open-ended, like Warhol combo traversal, and there wasn't a run button, oh boy, this could have been another genre of platformer. Yeah, Sonic would have been heat beyond that. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what bro. We on the same wavelength, bro. I'm telling you, I said the exact. I'm like, literally, it would have turned into like that could have been a whole entire genre itself. I would have been down with that, but like I said, like the level design is like, it's just that they didn't stay consistent in that game. You know what I mean? And it was way too cartoony for my taste. They went way too baby with that. A lot of people don't like colors for being babyish, and I'm like, yo, y'all went way too baby with Lost Worlds. I certainly don't agree with that take. Certainly don't agree with that take with that one.
It's not a graphical showcase, but will stand the test of time.
Oh boy. Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric. Honest to God, okay, so no bullshit. Best thing about this game is the animations. The best thing about this game. That is the best thing about this game. Because like whenever I go back to it, like whenever first of all, I don't go back and play it, but whenever I go back and see it, when I see these characters move around and all this stuff, like when they animate, emote, all that stuff, I'm like, yo, a lot of the games now, they don't really do that. If we being brutally honest to God, that's the truth.
Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric. Humor. I love the Sonic Boom cartoon.
Don't agree with that at all whatsoever. Don't agree with that at all whatsoever with the humor.
A lot of the jokes still land.
I don't agree with that at all. I think, but again, like look at their animations on, look at their faces. You don't see this in other Sonic games, bro. And I'm like, yo, y'all need to, like the only time after that was like Shadow Generations, where like you're like, oh, they're actually being expressive here. But everything in between this game and anything else, you were like, it's not doing it. It's not doing it. Sonic Boom equals character animation. It's surprisingly good. Exactly. We just said exactly. Galactic said, be right back. Okay. Peace out. Mr. King K says, so the show was pretty good. The show was funny. No. The humor in the game was like, I'm like, the show is hilarious as hell. Like, I have like the box set of the show because I'm like, yo, this shit is funny as hell. Like, low key. Like, it's low key funnier than it should have any right to be. Like, whoever was writing that had some heat, bro. That's like when you see the stuff out of context. Like, when you ever go on YouTube and like look at like Sonic Boom stuff, clips out of context. Moist, I would challenge you to do this, Moist. Go on YouTube when you have a chance. Go on YouTube and look up out of context Sonic Boom quotes. And watch the insanity that ensues. Like, you're gonna be like, the hell is happening? But yeah, the show is funny as hell. I love the show. The game, I don't know about the humor in the game. He said, I don't know, man. The show is pretty. Moy said, perfect game, no notes. In case said, for real though, I can't even hate on these games properly. I haven't played them. Yeah, I have. I didn't buy them. I remember when this game came out, I was like, we'll get into it tomorrow. But today, when this game came out, I was like, I remember this was the first. I was like, this is going to be a train wreck. I see it coming. It's happening.
It's funny and a stupid kind.
And they're not stopping.
Sonic Mania.
I don't like Knuckles and Sonic's redesigns. I don't either. They look so stupid.
Mania bosses. Classic Sonic bosses.
Oh, I don't agree with that at all.
They'll take whatever level gimmick and apply it to an enemy battle scenario in a really fresh way, and this game's no exception. But I'd argue it's done better here than in any other Sonic game, simply because of how distinct each and every fight.
No, literally this boss right here is the worst. It's so boring and so like, what are you doing? You're waiting around. Like, I don't agree with that. I don't think the bosses are the best thing about this game. Because there's some bosses I run into, like, there are some really good bosses. Don't get me wrong. There are very, very good bosses. But I don't think that's the highlight of this game. I don't think that's the best thing about this game. I think the best thing about Sonic Mania is basically I would say it's polished. Like it's a refinement of everything. Like it's in widescreen so you can see everything, which a lot of the other Sonic games did not do beforehand. Like, it was only, they took the original Sonic design, they widescreened it so you can see more in front of you and all that. But they took a lot of what we thought was already refined about Sonic and they did it even more beyond that. You know what I mean? The levels are more refined. Yeah, the levels are more refined. You can actually see ahead of you way further. Yeah, man. The movement is really good. Like the drop dash is like one of the best, like newest Sonic additions. So they upgraded the movement. The special stages are really good. I think if I were to highlight one thing about the game that I really like is the special stages. I really love the special stages. Really love them. Let's see. Let's see. Moy said, "Oh, I know. I've seen lots of clips from the show. I like to put the baby in the blender." It's like what? Like especially completely out of context. You're like, what is going on? Like what? PK said, "Drop dash, playable characters." Yep. Yeah, they brought Mighty and Mighty and Ray. Yep. I'll give you that. The drop dash is definitely the best thing about Sonic, because it just is. I feel like saying like refined everything is too. We need to be more specific, and like I said, I think boiling down to the drop dash would probably be that thing, because it's like it that by itself is one of those things where it's like you can't not have that in the Sonic game anymore. You got to have that in all of them. So it might be. Oh yeah, I'll give you that. King K, I will give you that.
You go from a high-speed chase through Studiopolis to a Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine ripoff.
You can't play a Sonic game without drop dash anymore, dog. You got to. It elevated the movement so well that it's like, yo. Oh boy.
Sonic Forces, nothing. I'm kidding. Environment progression. Where most Sonic games tell don't show when it comes to Eggman's effect on the environment, this game makes you feel Eggman's impact through the environment building.
I mean, I
sure, it starts off
agree, but I don't agree with the level. I don't remember. I don't agree with him saying environment progression.
Environment progression.
I don't agree with that. In case says Studiopolis, yeah. Yeah.
Sonic games tell don't show when it comes to Eggman's effect on the environment. This game makes you feel Eggman's impact through the environment building, kind of like.
Do you really feel Eggman? I guess you do. Whatever.
In Green Hill, but you get to watch it slowly lose color and life. And a few stages later, you get to this decimated city that's burning to the ground because of Eggman's invasion, which really drives home the fact that Eggman won, and the good guys are massive underdogs to the situation. Even some of the best Sonic games, like Adventure and Unleashed, fail to convey the severity of the situation through its levels. So
what? I don't care.
It is probably the only nice thing I'll ever say about Sonic Forces.
Okay. I don't agree with his take. I don't think that's the best. I don't think that's something I don't think that's the best. I think two things. I'm going to be nice. Let's be nice. We're going to be nice. Two things. One, I think the homing attack is very good. It's very, very, very snappy in this game, and I really like it in this game. I like it a lot. But I think the best thing in this game is the character customization. I think that's literally the best thing in the game, because I'm like it that fuels everything. Even though playing as the character, playing as the what is it called? Damn it! The freaking there's a term that people use, and I'm like not remembering the term, and it's getting on my nerves. The player character, your playable, your customizable player character or whatever. I think actually customizing them to make them look however you want or whatever, and making your own like player character or whatever. I think that is very fun, and I think that's the only thing that I'm like. I think that's the best thing about the game. Otherwise, if you didn't have that. Even playing as him is not that great. You know what I mean? But that's like the main draw, honest to God, because everything else is like, ugh. Oh yeah, Moy said OC. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah. NK said, okay, I'm going to do my best. Episode Shadow, gameplay mostly, Avatar, some of the music. Okay. I forgot about Episode Shadow. But that was so fast, and I was like, eh. It was not even, I was like, eh. It was so fast that I was just like, eh. Avatar, some of the music. Yeah, some of the music is dope. Some of the music is dope. He said, and Sanic. Yeah. Keep going. Frontiers.
Sonic Frontiers, a clear focus. I haven't been the nicest to this
I don't agree with that.
because I'm not too big
I don't agree with that. Those two words that he just said. I don't agree with that at all.
These big areas are filled to
I don't think this game has a clear focus at all.
And it's a strong first attempt at this type of game for the series. And I especially like how they introduced a change of pace without introducing a new gameplay style. These cyberspace levels provide a really different feeling experience compared to the main game, but you still have the same moveset and mechanics, so it really just helps you sharpen your skills and keep a playthrough.
No. Don't agree with that one at all whatsoever. I do not think that I think Sonic Forces has a lot of like I think Sonic Frontiers is a hodgepodge of a bunch of ideas that they are throwing at the wall. You know what I mean? I don't think that game has a clear focus at all. I think that they have a lot of good ideas that they're throwing at the chalkboard. You feel me? And they're seeing what sticks. Hopefully they can learn the right lesson. That's not to say that Frontiers is bad. I'm not saying Frontiers is bad. What I'm saying is that I think they took a lot of ideas, threw them together, and they were like, which one's the best one? Like, what can we do with all these? I don't think it has a clear focus at all whatsoever. So I do not agree with that. Let's see. I actually own this game on PS4. I've played a little bit just because my nephew wanted to play. Sonic Forces? Talking about that, Moist? King K said hand-to-hand combat. I wouldn't argue with that. I wouldn't argue with that. I think that's not a bad pick. Because that's what a lot of people do play this game for. Like, they'll play this game and be like, yo, the combat in here, yeah. And it's one of those things where I don't even have an issue with the combat in this game either. So yeah, Forces, okay. What did you think of when you played Sonic Forces? What did you think? Were you like, this is the best game that I have ever played in my entire life? You said it was free on PSN. That's a good bet. Because I would not pay a cent. Not a cent. I think the best thing about Sonic Forces or Frontiers is the movement in the open world. I think Sonic moving around the open world is the most fun that it's been in a long time. And I hope to God that they take that and they expand on it and actually refine it. You know what I mean? I hope that they do.
You still have the same moveset and mechanics, so it really just helps you sharpen your skills and keep a playthrough feeling fresh.
King K says Sonic fighting in a mainline Sonic game with no strings attached feels cathartic. Yeah, not only that, but like it's his movements. I think they need to touch up on that too, because like let me not say that. The fighting in this game feels like something Sonic would do. You know what I mean? He's got a lot of his movements are quick and like fast, quick, get in there, get out. You know what I mean? Super scrappy. And the only thing I wish that they would utilize more is his roll. You know what I mean? His natural movements and all this stuff. I obviously have a bias to like classic Sonic, but like him rolling and, you know, spinning and all this stuff, I wish that they would utilize those things more. But the actual combat itself, I remember I was like, at one point I was like, why are we putting more combat? And then when I actually got it and started playing it, I was like, oh, actually, this is not bad. This isn't bad. You know? So I'll give you that. But I think that the best thing about Sonic Frontiers is the movement. I think that's one thing I've heard a lot of people say over and over. They're like, they love the way it feels just moving around in the game. You know what I mean? And I think I can agree with that one. I'm a full agreement with that one. Let's see. Boy said, I mean, I'm not gonna be a good judge. I don't like Sonic games, LOL, so I didn't hate it, but I also didn't love it. And I have nothing to accurately compare it to. And I didn't get far in it either. Trust me when I say this, Moist. You're not missing anything. You're not missing anything. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to know, like, I wanted to see if you would be like, it was just like whatever. King K said punching, kicking, shooting energy beams, counterattacking, dodging, Twitch time. Yeah, man, all of it. Like that, it all feels great, dude. It's very, again, quick, snap, just like how we like Sonic's movements, quick, snappy, to the point, all that stuff. Like just get, boom, snap, get there, get in, get out, all that stuff or whatever. It's good. Feels good to do. Hope they expand on it and make it better. You feel me? I'm not gonna lie with y'all. I'm looking at this, and this might be the first time that I noticed that he had a Chaos Emerald in his hand. I did not ever notice that he had a Chaos Emerald in his hand right here. Wow.
Sonic Superstars multiplayer. In every other Sonic game, it seems like multiplayer's an afterthought. And while it can still be fun, here you can tell the game was built with intent to play with other people. From the very start, you can choose to play as Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, or Amy, and a 2nd through 4th player can make that same decision. It's not perfect, but no multiplayer in a platforming game is. And
oh no, that's a bad excuse, dude.
Multiplayer in Mario Wonder, which is kind of surprising considering how fast-paced this game is, but it's 100% true.
Brother, I couldn't disagree with you more with that one. That's a super disagreement. Really? I like Superstars co-op. Really? Interesting. That's the least. I hate it. It is not fun to me at all. Very interesting. Because I never like I have fun playing with my friends on this. Okay. Interesting. Because I had the complete opposite. I'm like, yo, I didn't like this at all. Like, I'm like, especially like playing, when we're all on the same map and we're running and all this stuff. I'm like, who's the camera following? You know what I mean? I'm like, who's the camera following? I'm like, if somebody falls behind or whatever, as far as like, if you outrun somebody or whatever, it doesn't spawn me in like running or anything like that. It doesn't do any of that. It's just like pure hectic chaos. And maybe that may be the point. Maybe you like, experiencing that. But I don't. That's crazy that like complete opposite. Very interesting. Moy said, yeah, picking a green emerald on a green grass background was a bad idea. Yeah. And making it almost like the exact same color and everything. So that's probably why I didn't. So it's probably why I never noticed it. I just thought he had his hand out running. I didn't know it had an emerald right there. You feel me? Split screen would have done this game justice. Yeah. Split screen. Yeah. Only problem, man, is like split screen, man. Like, man. No, it could be done. That could be done. You're right. Split screen, and then like, if you pick whoever's player one, right? I don't care who again. Whoever is the main person playing the game, the camera stays on them at all times. You feel me? And then when somebody falls behind, you press a button and you get back to them in a running fashion. You feel me? Bring them back running in the same speed and all that stuff, or at least being able to catch up with them and all that stuff. Because that's not what happens. The camera will try to latch on to whoever's in the lead. Then it's like, you get a bunch of accidental deaths when it happens. Mr. King K said, I mostly like fighting the final boss with one of my friends. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Here's the thing. But this is the part of the discussion that I like when we have like different, we got opposite viewpoints. I do like that. You know what I mean? Interesting. Maybe I need to try it again with maybe I need to try it again. Zoe said it desperately needed it, and maybe a race to the finish type of multiplayer, but still be co-op like Mario Maker 2. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it needed it. I was definitely like, I'm like, yo, we definitely need a racing style type of thing. Race to the finish type of multiplayer. Yeah, I'll be down for that. I'll be down for like a race to the finish type. Mr. Manboy said, what you should do in a multiplayer Sonic game is allow players to like slingshot off each other. Slingshot off. Oh. In what way? So if one person falls behind, he can warp or jump back to the other person and get a speed boost. I like your thinking. That's good. That's a good idea. Because the thing is, like, you can spawn to the person, but like you can't. I didn't think about that. You can speed boost to them. Keep the camera on the main character though, like on whoever is player one. Keep it on them. But like, yeah, they can like shoot ahead of you. That would be kind of sick. I didn't think about that. KK said it should be whoever is the highest closer to the right. It should be whoever is the highest / closer to the right. I don't know, man, because like if it's whoever's the highest closest to the right, because like the problem is like we run into issues like how we ran into with them, like where the camera is kind of like all over the place, and you're like we don't know who's following who or anything like that. So like the camera has to always adjust to whoever that person is. Really, honestly though, really, it should be kind of like speedrunners. Have y'all played speedrunners? Where like the camera pans all the way back. It's way back. And like you can like see fucking everything. So you don't have to have that issue at all. So the camera should just go away, like be way back. So that you can like account for everything. That's really, I think that may be the best solution for that. Should be well, there must be a slingshot, but I do like the slingshot idea. I do like the pan back idea. Zoe said I think they should try this again, but in the Mania style. What, this game? Knuckles Chaotix type of way? No, well, hold on, not like Knuckles Chaotix. no, not like that. He's talking about like if you spawn to him and then you can just slingshot, but like not like hold the player and then slingshot. Good God, no. But yeah, something akin to that. I need to finish this game, man. It gets difficult towards the end, but it's a good. I think it's a good difficult, except for the final boss. The final boss is like some old bull. All right, let's get going. Let's keep going. I got 4 minutes left. Let's keep going. Sonic X Shadow Generations.
This Sonic X Shadow Generations is still a few weeks out, but I did get the chance to play it at Summer Game Fest.
Oh, this is an old video.
The Shadow Generations half is the chaos control mechanic. When I realized you were supposed to freeze these projectiles into a line to form a bridge to run across, I fell in love with it, and I can't wait to see how they fully flesh it out. But there you have it, a way too critical Sonic fan.
Best thing about Sonic X Shadow Generations is that it is no nonsense. It is a no nonsense Sonic game through and through. It is like very much like, yo, these are the levels and we playing the levels and that's it. It ain't nothing else. It ain't no tricks, no gimmicks. You got the only gimmick is like the squid stuff, or not the squid, but like the chaos powers or whatever. And not the chaos powers. What am I talking about? The doom powers. That's like the only gimmick, but honestly they're not even really that intrusive. But yeah, it's very much no nonsense. Like it is very. This is the game where like he was like, oh, Frontiers feels focused. This game feels focused. It feels like it very much understands its goal and is like, we understand the focus of this game. Execute it. That's the thing. Definitely the one. KK said spear gliding. Yep. Yep. Every Shadow game going forward, use a spear. Don't fix that. That shit. Spear gliding? Yes. So I ain't gonna argue with that one. That's a good pick. King K. Well, I skipped over one thing you said. The right is where you're going. In platformers, you typically want to take the slightest path, the highest path, so that should have priority. I get what you're saying, but it's difficult for me to see because I feel like they already tried to do that, and it just doesn't. Or maybe they try to do it right, but they just don't do it in the right way because like it seems like the camera is trying to follow whoever's the most right, but then it'll kind of like shift. Maybe they're just not doing it right. So maybe I'm not trying to knock your idea. I'm not trying to knock your idea. Maybe I just need to see it executed well. Cause like inherently that makes sense. Like you're like, who's the furthest right? You know what I mean? The only problem with Sonic games is like, sometimes you switch left. You know what I mean? So then it's like, okay, now we got to switch left and go you know what I mean? That's why I say like, keep the camera on whoever's player one. Or like I said with the speedrunners thing where you just pan the camera all the way back. You don't even have that issue at all whatsoever. Like panning back like way back. But not to knock your idea, I'm just saying like I gotta see it. I would have to see that performed well because like I said, I feel like it already tries to do that and it doesn't do it well. And on top of it, like you know, when everybody is going left, then who does it follow? You know what I mean? Unless the camera can just whip to whoever's going. Yeah. You know, I don't know, man, because whoever's taking the lead at that point, then it's just like the camera's just gonna be like, you know what I mean? It's gonna be like, which is what we're trying to avoid. You know what I mean? But Moy said you should just give each player a button to warp to their teammate. That's what they have. They have that already. But the problem is that they don't do it well. They have that already. Like so, their idea is right, but like the camera doesn't know who to follow, and that's the problem. So then it'll be a bunch of accidental deaths. Is the problem? Well, so that way you can choose when to warp and who warps to who. That's what I'm saying. It already does that, but it just does it bad. They don't do it well. All right. Hold on. King K said, I think Superstar's issue is that it prioritizes whoever is the closest to the edge of the screen or just who's going right regardless of height. Okay. So that's what I'm talking about. So you're talking about something different than that. Because that's what I'm saying. I'm like, yo, it prioritizes not whoever's the most right, but who, like you said, you're like whoever's the closest to the edge of the screen. And I'm like, that's the thing that they execute poorly. Moist, you're on the right path. Like you're already thinking like that. Where I'm like, they already got that stuff that you're talking about. The thing that you said though that makes more to me, I'm like, yo, that's dope. Is the dash part like that? Make them like, oh, they pop in and then dash. You know what I mean? This is cool though, guys. It's time. It's time for me to go. Appreciate everybody here. There's a lot of people here. Appreciate it. I appreciate the discussion. Tomorrow we're gonna come back. You know what I mean? And we're gonna do the worst thing about every Sonic game. Won't that be fun? Won't that be great? Just take a whole video where we can just slam on all the worst things that you hate about Sonic the Hedgehog. You feel me? But if you guys like what you've seen here, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell. Make sure you come back. We'll be here tomorrow at around the same time. You feel me? 5 o'clock Central Time, 6 o'clock Eastern Time. We're going to do the same thing, only we're going to be talking about the worst thing. And then also, if you like to support Monthly Gamer, all my payment options are down in the description below. I got PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, Patreon. Patreon is a subscription service. You want to throw $1 in there, that'll help me out greatly. I got a $5 tier where if you want to throw $5 in there, I'll play whatever game you want. You can request any game. I'll play that game as long as I have access to it. As long as it is YouTube friendly. Cool. Trogdor, he said, have a good rest of your night. Hey man, peace out, man. Appreciate you being here. Boy said, peace out, Girl Scout. Peace out, man. Appreciate you. Everybody else, appreciate y'all showing up. This has been Monthly Gamer. See you tomorrow. That's the wrong mouse. Zoe hit me with the unk, man. Why you making me feel old, man? Peace out, though, man. It's good seeing you. Moy said, I want Bloodborne to be my next game. Jesus Christ. Why would you make this difficult for me? Now I gotta find a way to get it. I'm gonna just tell you, I'm gonna be like, I can't get it, man. Can't get it. All right, y'all, I'm gone.